We're talking TikTok updates as well. Still navigating all of these crazy iOS updates. I'm doing great, Janet. How are you? What have you been up to? I'm just cruising Substack and TikTok.
I'm in live on Substack later today. Please join. A wild place. Wildlife at our feet actually dangerous to fight. Surf is such wild fish that our filmmaker. Yeah, and I was looking at your intro about making this nation look better. Wild.
Oh, that's great.
Wildlife at our feet and dangerous.
I'm glad to hear that.
This wild animal fish that on our filmmaker. Yeah, and I was looking at your intro about making this nation look better. The wild place. Wildlife at our feet and dangerous profession. Surf is this wild animal fish that on our filmmaker. Yeah, and I was looking at your intro about making this nation look better. A wild place. Wildlife photography and dangerous fashion. Surf is this wild animal fish on our filmmaker. Yeah, and I was looking at your intro about making this nation look better.
I am tired.
A wild place. Wildlife photography and dangerous fashion. Surf. I was looking at your intro about making this nation look better.
1 second.
The wild place.
Let me change the lighting a little bit.
Wild animal fish on our filmmaker. Yeah, and I was looking at your intro about
Is that a little bit? I think that's a little bit better. Hey, Miss Mia Wolf.
place. Wildlife photography and dangerous profession.
Maybe. Just another depressed stoic trying to find herself. I'm gonna subscribe. I feel like it's depressed stoic sometimes. We're gonna be interviewing fantasy author Anthony Lee Phillips. It's gonna be a good time. No, not time for a small break, Janet.
Yeah, I know that you have the short intro about making this nation look better. The wild place. Wildlife photography and dangerous profession. Surf is this wild animal fish filmmaker. Yeah, I know that you have the great nation.
All right, yeah. Jan.
Wildlife photography and this is us filmmaker. No, at all. Great to believe that they have given.
Jan is an abstract artist, avid reader, activated citizen. Give Jan a follow, or Jan. Sorry, Jan. Time for a small break. Why not? Um, you know, just working. Alexi, welcome. Alexi, welcome into the chat. All right. Alexi is no bio yet, but he give you a follow. Good to meet you. I kind of do my lives a little bit like, hey, Lane Talbot. Notable fiction in Best American Mystery Stories, fiction and essays that pair well with exotic cocktails served in haunted hotel bars by the sexiest ghosts one could survive the holding directly. Let me do a follow on that one. I like that. Am I going to be sensible? Yeah, that's for you to judge. Alexi, where are you tuning in from? US? I'm based in the US. My publication is Away with Words. That's my poetry publication. You can subscribe there. Chicago, I'm in North Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina. A lot of people come in here and wonder what the heck is going on. You may have been scrolling through videos. You may have been, I don't know exactly how it works with the latest iPhones. Well, kind of, I do. But anyway, we can do a more news focused. We can do a poetry reading while we're waiting for our interview with fellow fantasy fiction author Anthony Lee Phillips. I write a book called AFL the Bastard. It is the story of the illegitimate son of a powerful duke who has to fight against enemies inside and out to protect the country that he loves, all while guarding a secret so dark it would destroy everything that he loves. Published digitally here on Substack. What are you working on, Lane? But this live stream, yeah, noise. This live stream is dedicated more to the artist's journey, if that makes sense. I know that sounds lame. Novel as well, horror thriller. I suppose this is as good a time as any to let everyone know who's in the chat that you won't be, your comments I don't think will be recorded. Thank you, Jan. The just to let you know that I may take some of this with Anthony and use it as marketing collateral for my brand online, such as it is. So, what are you working on, Jan? That's a novel. Very cool. So, I don't know if you guys know about this. Recycled upscaling sculptures. Interesting. Recycled upscaling sculptures. What's that about? Were we talking about something related to that? Multitasking. So you can subscribe to my publication right up there. We will start at 12 p.m. Eastern. My stuff is also designed to have that you can have on in the background. Casual vibe, chime in. Don't leave at your leisure. Don't have to say goodbye. Again, if you've ever been on a TikTok live, I feel like I'm a little bit more in that regard. What most regard as junk turned awesome. I love that. Would anyone like to come up? You got about 15 minutes before we start the show. The floor is yours. No obscenity, like nothing that could get you or me banned from Substack, basically. Don't be a dick also. Just a thought. Respectfully. But 12 p.m. Eastern, I can read out a bio for anyone who's still here about Anthony. So Anthony Lee Phillips is the author so if you go and you just Google him, and it's Anthony Lee Phillips at Substack.com. I'll put that in the chat. Sometimes we might be moving the camera a little bit. As we go, we're on the hunt for good Wi-Fi. And if you just Google him and put Substack in there, should pop up. He'll be our guest today. So he's the author of Moon Thread. And I am excited. I'm just tired, Jan. Just tired. But Tolkien had elves, Paolini, dwarves. I assume that's Christopher Paolini. Martin has dragons, George R.R. Martin. Rothfuss does demons like nobody else. Farmers Against, hey, it's been so long. How have you been, farmers? Rothfuss does demons like nobody else, but Nala's world was made for orcs. By the guy who wrote Moon Thread, Meet Nala, just to browse. A really nice Substack layout too, by the way. Thank you for the heart hands. Good to see you again. Really great outliner of various, works that he does work on. I would expect a very process-oriented discussion, which I'm excited about. So if that's something you guys are into, fantasy fiction, looks like Anthony's working on something new, Legend of Bakura, Bakura. I just think it's really cool to see a guy using Substack to the max, to grow his audience, their audience. It's fine. Great images. Substack is so much easier to use than TikTok lives. Cruising Substack and TikTok over here. I haven't set up the Substack from the desktop. So this is, why should I read Moon Thread? kids with powers like Harry Potter, lore like Game of Thrones. At the climax of book one, you see two 11-year-olds go God mode and fight for the first time. Welcome to Moonthread. The plot: Nala, an 11-year-old orcish girl, lives a sheltered life in the middle of nowhere Orkshire. But when she crosses paths with a savage boy on a demon quest, the goddess that sleeps in her spine has no choice but to wake up. Pretty cool, I think. So you can subscribe to Moonthread down here, and I definitely need to. So I encourage everybody to subscribe. Once Anthony joins, once Anthony joins, you'll be able to subscribe to him and me with an easy click of a button up there. And by the way, guys, I want to introduce Farmers Against Thumper, Trumper, Farmer's Wife, trying to feed America. Never had TikTok, Twitter, or X. No time for it. Love Harry Dunn and Michael Fanone. Good-hearted people is what we need that have morals. Hashtag never going back. I don't know why I'm not following you, farmers, but all right, 9 minutes on the dial, y'all.
God, it's a fighting place. Deep breath. It's I can see nothing. Working more. That's never told me about this that I teach them.
Hey, Zena Gomez-Lees, welcome in. Zena Gomez-Lees is a contributing editor at New Verse Review and an MFA candidate at the University of St. Thomas, Houston. Her writing can be found on her Substack, The Beauty of Things. She lives in Boston, Massachusetts with her husband and 5 children. That is very cool. I'm going to subscribe. I'm a poet. While we're waiting, we can read.
Yeah, the songs. Staring some such here on fans.
Just published an autofiction piece. This is me on Substack.
Jason, you're so I'm going to watching it every day. But watching the show every day for Sarah, I got to sit up.
Sorry, guys.
So jealous of his name. It's so something. Yeah, it's going to be a god during this stuff. It's me. I'm from this place of pops.
Things have been going better for me. Thank you. If anybody wants to copy and paste that, if you're on a computer, we'll see if Anthony's on a computer.
As far as the books, the city fix a lot of back distinction, so I figure
We're also going to talk to Anthony Lee Phillips, by the way. So this is a good one. When she laughs, and it's called Her Laughter, for AB. So that's the dedication. When she laughs and I hear her walking in front of her or behind, no matter our distance, I am near her, every thought replaced in my mind. The water of it jumping, pouring amid her lips, flowing, soaring from her neck, her head thrown back, igniting all the air she breathes. In thrilling fingerprints she leaves on me with what her laughter says. And what her laughter says is that I'm nowhere else but with you now. Then, this having been announced, the space around her levitates. It becomes a little weightless, those who surround her elevating, endowing on the air the traces of lightning that the water chases, the flash of flame that dances and splashes on the water's faces. Down the dips and rippling places, lapping light dappled and captured traces and sparks that charge her air with luster, her voice is joy and life recovered. Her voice is notes of sunlit motes like fireflies that closely float nearby in late summer and never rest, the parts of them that softly glow. When she talks, it's like her laughter is gathered up in bales together, in melodies, and gently tethered, bound in bands of softened leather, as brocaded locks of golden heather. Her words redound the gales of air, then from her laughter's music, all at once, lyrics are there. So her laughter has its overture, its denouement, and a quiet end, when her slowly fading singing maintains yet still some faint ringing, even as outside a silence tries to eclipse her choir inside from sight, its memory made friable by daylight, her laughter is more gorgeous still than any words I could ever write. So you can subscribe for more poems like that. I like to use a more classical meter, you know?
Sound like something. It's kind of like was the best thing. So, so, so.
You can also find me here. Hey, Anthony, what's up? Just, getting the room ready.
You're at 2801 Edridge Court Raleigh, NC.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else dealing with the whenever you're ready, Anthony, we can pop up on. What's up? What is up? I was reading some of your bio. Whenever you're ready, you can hop on up and the floor is yours. I've just seen you have a lot of success on Substack and I think that's awesome. I've been giving people a tour of Nala's world. I've been telling people, hey, we're going to have let me invite you up. My bad. And plus, I'm taken away from your platform. I need you to explain it.
So it doesn't mean so. How I saw circle this fire. It's just an option. And you want to think it was main blocks.
Hey,
What's up?
Anthony, long time no see.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you great, man.
Cool.
Well, welcome in. I really want to hear from you, but we've got some cool people in the chat. We've got, some fans of fantasy fiction, some fans of genre fiction from across Substack. You're just somebody that I've noticed, Zelda. You're just somebody I've noticed who has a lot of cool things going on. So I was curious. The other thing
We
too
have
is
9 viewers, which is lucky, because Nala's number is 9. Boom, boom, boom.
take it away, man. Take it away. What's up with you? What have you been working on?
Well, I was actually kind of curious because you were like, oh, sorry, sorry, I'm getting used to this new setup.
No worries. I'm like off kilter over here.
I was curious, like, if you were giving people a tour of Nala's world, I was like, I wonder if I could have that tour and see what it seems like on the other side.
For sure. Yeah. This is all I was doing was turning my camera around. I went ahead and subscribed. So, like I was telling people, I've been cruising TikTok lately because of the sale of that side of the business. But if you just go here on Substack, and I know, I was too lazy to set up
Oh,
the,
good.
but if you go here to Anthony Lee, and I went ahead and subscribed to you, Substack has been substacking. You can see the guy who wrote Moon Thread.
Boom.
Bam. And
And
so I
eventually
said,
it'll go back to my name, but for now, the thing I want people to know is Moon Thread, you know? So it's like I want that. I don't think of George Lucas and think George Lucas, you know? I hear George
Mhm.
Lucas and I think Anakin.
Oh, there's
I think
us.
Vader, right? Hey.
When you go to Anthony's page, right, you're just going to see Moon Thread, notes, and about. And I'm imagining, Anthony, maybe this is the first where people should start.
Yeah, I mean, I made AnthonyLeePhillips.com. It should redirect right to the first chapter. Just to make it really easy, because the place you should start is a chapter called "It Begins in Darkness." I should rename it "Start Here." It begins in darkness, probably, but yeah, and then it just tears into Moonthread, and Moonthread is part of a huge connected story world, where orcs have emotion magic. They get their magic from these Enneagram gods, actually. So like I'm very into the Enneagram, and I just turn each of the types on the circle into its own god. And so like that god gives power, but it's only emotion magic and it's only to orcs. And you get to see all kinds of versions of that in book two. But mainly in book one, in Moonthread, you see this girl named Nala, who has the
Hmm.
goddess of the Enneagram type 9, which is what I am. And I turned that, I thought, start with what I am because I know it best. And it's kind of a story about empathy in a lot of ways, because I was like, how do I make somebody who's completely different from me in every way, like breaks all the rules, like is not me, does not have my experience, and how do I write her realistically? And my sort of hack, my backdoor was to write her as the same Enneagram type as I am, which just means like when stress happens, we react the same. you
Can you
know?
explain more a little bit about the Enneagram? Because I'm not familiar with what that is.
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, it's a pretty recent thing as a branded concept, right? There's not like a school of Enneagram, but the ideas are very old. So there are two places where the ideas of the Enneagram sort of show up in older culture and ancient cultures, and then the Enneagram is like a flowering of those beliefs. Okay. So like
Mhm.
in the Odyssey, Odysseus visits 9 islands sort of in reverse order of what they are on the Enneagram. And so like with the Enneagram, I always like to start at 9, which is the gentlest type, and then you go backward around the circle. Then you end with the 1, which is all about focus. And that's the reason I do that is because those types show up in the Odyssey in that order.
Very cool.
Yeah, and then the other thing is that like there are 3 types of each branch, So like there's the Enneagram is all about your stress type. When
Hmm.
I'm writing, I use stress type, or like I call it the Fey stack, because it's fear, anger, and embarrassment. And so like
Hmm.
those are the parent gods in my magic system. Fear, anger, and embarrassment, and then they leave. And each of them has 3 children, and those 3 children give powers. Those are the 9 gods. They make up the 9 gods. So there are 3 anger gods, 3 embarrassment gods, and then 3 fear gods. And that's because that shows up in like Buddhism, in the Buddhist poisons of craving and ignorance and aversion. So it,
Reminds me kind of like the appetitive from Plato. The appetitive.
hmm, I don't know Plato very well.
No, I mean neither do I, but I some of the things stuck with me. But like the appetitive, it kind of is like it's connected to the word for appetite. Appetitive.
Oh, that's interesting.
Well, I'm big on dualities, and so you were talking. Maybe you can keep
Yeah.
me on track before I ramble too much.
No,
But
I
I do
want you
like
to
to.
ramble. That's what I'm here for.
Well, that's good. I also love to introduce people who come into the chat, by the way. So we've got
Oh, for sure.
Melissa, whose bio is just it's absurd here, which I
Hey,
always,
Melissa.
it can be
Yeah.
absurd here.
Okay.
Anybody who's got a question, pop it up. But we're talking about genre fiction on Substack with Mr. Anthony Lee Phillips.
Yeah, so like you said, you're into the dualities then, like largely like dualistic ideas.
Yeah. So in my book, there's an interplay between two main characters. The entire story could be seen as a dialogue a little bit
Mm,
between,
that's cool.
right? So if you're familiar with, I believe his name is Philip Pullman, but the author of His Dark Materials,
Yeah.
So very inspired by that dynamic between Pantaleimon and Lyra,
Yeah,
right? So
those books are so good.
those books, they changed my life. I love those books. They're one of the main inspirations for me. And so anyway, the Pantaleimon of it is Serexifina, and then the main character is Eethel, right? Hey, Henry James Rothbuck. And
What's
there's a
going on, man?
duality. My magic system is based on the DSM criteria clinically, as somebody with obsessive compulsive disorder. I
I remember
have,
you saying that she is his OCD, like coming to life. Like if it was it William the Conqueror? There was some
yes,
yeah. And I remember you saying that it's like his story, but like taking that filter and then saying if this is where his magic comes from, what does that look like?
exactly. Exactly. No, that's exactly right. And she's sort of a manifestation of intrusive thoughts. And I'm hoping that by, the one thing I was worried about was that people would get kind of offended by it. And that's
Hmm.
not my intention.
Yeah.
Sarah Safina is like her own, she's not like some, they're both, they're two characters that are interplayed, and there's the main character is, anyway, I ramble. I want to listen more to you. So we've got Henry James Rothrock in the chat now. Philosophical stories about choosing good in a world of evil. Characters face moral trials, showing that even in darkness, doing what's right defines true strength and lasting meaning. Very cool. I'll give you a follow. I love that. So,
Yeah,
guys,
it's really good.
Moonthread was, I think, the first story that I read on Substack.
What? That's crazy.
Yeah, it
You've
was.
seen it change a lot then.
I've seen it change a lot. And guys, I encourage you can hit up you can subscribe to Anthony just by tapping this button up here in the chat. So it's been really cool. How has the book changed from start to so when did you start on Substack,
Oh yeah.
and
Yeah, I mean,
what's the story there?
yeah, I started on Substack. Well, I started posting notes and stuff not last November, but the November before. Yeah, I guess almost a year. And then I started releasing chapters in January, if I remember right. I'm pretty sure it's in January of this year. And what I've tried to do is I've just tried to, almost treat it like Royal Road. Like people who are on Royal Road, they'll be like, I'm gonna post 5 chapters a week,
Hmm.
and then they just write the longest web novel they can possibly output, and they just keep on and keep on and keep on, and then their like money model is okay if you've all cut like if you're all caught up, you can get early chapters on Patreon, and then the different tiers are just like for $5 you're 10 chapters ahead, and for this many dollars you're this many chapters ahead, and so on and so forth. I didn't go full into that strategy just because I can't write that fast. So what I've tried to do is just like use Substack as like a much smaller version of that, where I just release a chapter every week, and that way I can
Hmm.
still stay ahead of it. And then at some point, as I finish the draft for book two, then people will be able to read ahead, you know. But
Very cool. I need to consider doing something like that because I've got this big brick of text and it's like half of a novel's worth, and I just need to finish it. So maybe I can kind of repackage it. Sometimes my business past creeps into all of this, and I'm interested in
you
I
should
don't
look
need
up
to
the
reduce.
Royal Road business model if you haven't. I mean, maybe you have. Have you looked that up yet?
I created a Royal Road account, but I have not really done anything with it. No, I'm with the social media fatigue a little bit. And
Yeah, for sure.
I got the day job, the day job.
Well, I'll send you an article that your business brain might just be kind of interested in because it really is like a full-time writing business model. And so it requires a lot of volume. But I'll send it to you. At the very least, I'm sure you'd be interested in it.
That's
Blew my
really
mind.
cool.
Yeah.
No, yeah, no worries at all. That's great. Anybody have any questions for Anthony? I just want to make it interactive. I can continue, rambling on, but
Yeah,
And
what's everybody working on today? Are you like just sort of taking a break from stuff, or are you daydreaming?
I'll go back through the chat
Doing some
because
writing today?
we got some
We have
familiar
some.
faces. All
And
right.
like, I don't know, I'm a big fantasy guy, so I'm just always looking for new fantasy, you know? So like, should I read something before, what is it, the King of Nothing or whatever that series is? Lord of Nothing. There's a trilogy that I just heard about that seemed pretty highly acclaimed. Or Dandelion Dynasty. And that's good.
Very cool. All right, what was I
In
doing?
or if people are interested in poetry, in my story, whenever the magic happens, it turns into poetry, into like Shakespearean poetry, or Homeric, or I'm really into Vikings. The one thing that I've released actually is called Orc Lore, and it's a bunch of poems that I wrote about the gods in this world. And these are orcish poems that are spoken around a fire. But also, like in, I think it's chapter 7 of Moonthread, you get to
Mhm.
see what orcish entertainment looks like. And orcs, because they have magic, they do this thing called telling, which is like, oh, I'm going to tell you a story, but I'm going to cast an illusion on everybody and cast you in the illusion. So it's like, oh, I'm going to go hear somebody tell a story. The story of, you know, I don't know, one of the guys from the War of the Roses, Edward the Third. I'm gonna go watch Edward the Third um uproot his stepdad. Only like I'm gonna tell you the poetry of it, and you're gonna be Edward in the vision. And so like all that you see in the story is the text, but in everybody's head they can see it, they can taste the smoke, they can smell the flowers, they can taste the irony blood, like it's sweaty and they're tired, and you are living that immersive experience. And so orc lore, the way that I imagined it is like it's just poems, but these are all tellings. These are all orcish tellings, and it includes like prophecies that will come true in book 5, things like that. So
I love world building. So that's
same.
always a discussion that I'm willing to have. And welcome in Corey Gruber, retired, and I mean it. Preached. Retired Army, retired FEMA, former NSC. Very cool.
Retired and I mean it. That's so great.
I know. I know. Like, I've been like actively trying to, after working, like trying to be a full-time writer for so long, I basically was just kind of like, you know, I need to get back on track so I like was basically my sleep schedule was way out of whack. And so now I'm trying to get back into working normal 9 to 5 hours. That's my point. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's been an
And you've
exciting
been working on a
updates.
lot of poetry, right? You were saying
Yes,
you've been working on a lot of poetry?
I do. Yeah. So earlier on the on the stream, I was reading some poetry. I can read some more. People are into that.
Yeah.
Let's do it. I read a poem called Her Laughter. So if you guys just go over to my Substack and check it out. But the publication is called Away with Words. And that's what we're on right now. So I read Her Laughter. I published a piece of auto fiction, which was kind of experimental for me. I don't know, what that's all about, but
That's exciting.
I don't really know, I was unfamiliar with this term autofiction before, and I'm happy to read if you want to take a pause, but um, what do you think about autofiction?
And this meaning like autobiographical fiction, right?
That's why I'm asking is I don't really understand exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Because I've heard it described in a number of different ways.
I don't know what that is. I haven't read any. Um, so I'm not actually sure. I
The way I've heard
I
it described is stream of consciousness writing.
stream of
So
consciousness writing. Okay.
but I'm just not
Interesting.
sure what maybe I get too obsessed with names, but I'm not sure like what the different because we have a
Yeah.
term for stream of consciousness writing, like
Stream of consciousness writing.
it's
Yeah,
stream
yeah.
of consciousness writing. But I'm just sort of wondering like what that, what the distance is or what the
I would
difference
have to
is.
read some examples of it, I think, to really like speak to it, because I don't think I've ever read anything that calls itself autobiographical fiction. And I can imagine what it's like, where it's like, oh, this is the story of my life, and then I'm bringing in this like extremely fictional thing. But whether that's like a fantasy element or like I'm going to change the events of my life, I'm not really sure. Um, I
Well,
would
in
That'd be
in my
interesting.
case, sorry, go ahead.
No, 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 that would be interesting.
Well, in my case, what I did was I really just kind of sat down, opened up the Notes app, not the Notes app, but the voice recorder app, right,
Oh,
on my
cool.
iPhone, and I just sort of like talked. I just sort of talked, and I know that that sounds strange, but to me, it was about the process of it. I sat down, I just talked for however long about whatever it was I wanted to say, and then turned it off, copied it, and just put it on Substack.
I love it.
So that to me, like it's me writing, but at the same time, it's kind of like just I don't even really know. Like
Diary.
it's a diary, but like it's also I think it's fair to say that because I know it will be public, there's a fiction element to it, right? But
Interesting.
but that's the question that I think really is at the core of autofiction for me. Like,
Autobiographical like fiction almost sounds like a version of memoir, like memoirized life, or something like that. But even then, like a memoir sort of implies that it's true.
mhm.
So you may be forging your own genre, man.
Well, I'm not because I appreciate that, but I'm not because it is big on Substack.
Okay, cool.
I put in the chat Emma Girl, who is a person that I subscribe to on here, who I have noticed has really good defines their work as autofiction, and I enjoy a lot. That's her. I
Cool.
don't know what her like username is, but that's her handle.
Yeah, I would love to hear some poetry.
Anyway, sure. So Light makes this one is called Last Night. It's from Young. Which is the first poem or first collection that I have. Light makes pellucid notice of what was only last night. All the glasses have fuchsia beds of caked wine. A touched bottle of bourbon stands resolutely at attention. Good morning from all sides of my room. Today I leave to spend Christmas in another house for the first time. The trains will cut a straight track through the morass waste of the winter Palatinate, and I will find a home in a castle of a place with round edges made soft, a white lantern hung aloft. And that's
Mm,
done.
it's beautiful.
Thank you.
Absolutely beautiful, man. I'm
I
gonna
was
have to pull
reading
it
the
up.
one that I'm most proud of, but I fuck around with some rhythm, some iambic, you
Uh-huh.
know.
Uh-huh. Yeah, what's your poetic process look like? Like, do you do a lot of form, or like what's your process like
Well,
for
all it
poetry?
is yeah, no, great question. Thank you. And sorry, if you need me to like pick things up a little bit, I'm in my TikTok mode,
No,
you know,
dude,
which
you're
is
on.
all about engagement with the chat, you know.
Sure. Yeah. I'm super easy.
No, you are. You definitely are. This has to do with my process and finding Wi-Fi. So one thing that I've learned about Substack Lives is they are pretty high quality if you have a decent iPhone, but you have to be near Wi-Fi. So that's a Substack pro tip for you. Anyway,
Noted.
I gotta go. If you're doing a live, um, let me turn on some lighting so I don't look so.
It's alive.
Yeah,
I'm
no.
gonna I'm gonna take this chaos moment and get my charger too, because I'm very prepared, as you can see.
Well, that's to me the lot. Now, this may be a good time to mention to you, Anthony, and to everybody in the chat that some of this I like to take the snippets that Substack does, and I
Yeah,
like to
yeah.
post them on social media. But as far as I know, what you post in the chat, are not is not. So these are spontaneous kinds of things. We may be ending at 12:30 depending on what we run out of stuff to talk about. We may be talking about more.
Oh,
So
you're worried about that. Okay.
No, 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 no. I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about that. So here's like my process, right? I just go through Moleskin or Moleskin, whatever they're called,
Mhm.
notebooks. I keep them over here on my bookshelf, and I just sort of like will like roll them up and just it's not a very elaborate process, but like I can see if I can find a poem and just read it out, and then I just sort
Yeah.
of post it as it happens.
I mean, that would be
Um
sick.
this is from a cyberpunk novel. It was all done in the office park's anodyne. That's where Danny had lived during all of the shit that went down. Who knows? This is a draft. This is just a first pass. No police bothered to I put footnotes in my own notes, so I don't know what that says about me. To come. He liked things a little grimy. He liked things a little dirty. Blast has made you appreciate a site a bit more than people who hadn't ever traversed a blurry world. And that kind of thing helped every now and then. I lost my mind and the phone at this bar.
That's a good line.
I, I
There are
it's
a couple
that
good
to
lines in there.
Yeah, to me, I've always viewed writing a little bit as like I don't mean to here I am comparing myself to one of the greatest artists of all time, but um
Tool's not wrong.
Michael Michelangelo has a great quote where he said, I didn't carve David, I just found him
And the
in
stone, right.
in the stone. So
Yeah.
this is like maybe like the raw material, right? And then it gets like redrafted into whatever it does, and then I
Mhm.
just sort of like I try to keep I'm a very physical kind of writer and a very like I'm either physical like um verbal kind of like recording or writing or something like that. I don't like sitting down and typing, although I need to have like a record of it. Like I always
Mhm.
need something to write on. Again, rambling,
Do you have a
but
favorite pen?
do I have a favorite pen? Yes, I do. It is my Pelican 205 fountain pen.
Nice.
But it depends on like I'll tell
If
you,
it's
I
got
have
ink.
whatever's got ink. I'll tell you, man, the best I can, I'll fuck around and do a pen review. Who knows? So best I would say that like best to buy in bulk, the Sharpie S gel. Cheap, but gel.
Yeah.
That's just for always having something lying around. I recommend the Sharpie S gel. Um, let's see what else we got. I recommend for standing writing, it's not the best, but the Dixon Ticonderoga,
Okay.
uh, Black Murado Black Warrior. And Anthony, feel free to take it over at any time.
No, I'm having a great time.
Um, my favorite pen is the Papermate Ink Joy at 0.5 um millimeter.
Yeah.
But I love Lamy fountain
See,
pens.
that's a little bit too fine for me.
Okay.
I like an inky pen. I like it to move. I like to flow.
Well, a great pen, they don't make
I
this
like it to
anymore.
blot.
You like it to blot?
I like it to
Well,
blot. Yeah.
I like a smooth. I also have a very weird. I hold my hand
Oh,
like that.
interesting.
So like
Like an artist.
I don't know. Yeah, kind of. So like here's my to-do list for the day.
Michelangelo.
That's my to-do list. It just is on the
Hey, you
wall.
got a lot of stuff crossed out. That's impressive.
Yeah. But like I'll even like tape weird things. I'm weird. Who knows? But yeah, this is this is a great pencil. I'm just there's this one I need to invite a friend of mine, Ken Roselli, over here because he's a good guy. See, we got the Black Warrior in bulk.
Nice. Nice.
Always have a pencil sharpener. You never know. The best bang for your buck plastomer eraser would be the Tombow Mono. Anthony, please come up with something to say.
Well, I mean, I can always talk about Moonthread, and that's always where the conversation ends up going. Hey, what's up, Justin's Dailies? What's up,
Hey,
Justin?
Justin's Dailies, howdy and welcome to a space for optimism and realism. Formerly from the United States, now in the Netherlands. Well, dankjewel. Dankjewel for joining my live. Cheers. Tak vrier. All right, very cool. You're welcome to come up if you want to, but maybe we should close it out with some words on Moonthread. I'd love to hear where you're at
Yeah,
and,
well, and
take all the time that you need.
yeah, so I I'm currently writing book 2 of 9, but that 9-book series is part of a 20 it's part of a 31 book sort of super series that I'm building out, and I've got orc lore, and then I've got bits of books 2, and then one of the side quests done. And that's mostly what I'm working on is book 2, which is called Dust Touched. So book 1 is called Moonthread, and it's about Nala, who is an orc, and she's 11. She's Harry Potter's age. And the general like idea, the
We love
pitch.
Harry Potter over here.
I love Harry Potter. Goblet of Fire, represent. Um, the the general premise of Moonthread is this: what if you met Gandalf at Harry Potter's age, and he was a girl, and she was an orc? So it's orcish Gandalf, and you meet him when he's young, and it's this this little girl named Nala, and she's been chosen by the Shadow Goddess,
And
whose
she's a
name is
character in Moonthread, right?
yeah, she's the main character in Moonthread, and
Yeah.
she's been chosen, she's been possessed by this Shadow Goddess named Ugru, who is
And I
the
did
mother
read.
shadow.
I did read. I promise
Yeah,
I did read.
you're
I've
all
read.
good.
There's so much great stuff on Substack.
No, I'm not hurt, man. It's all
Yeah.
good. There's so much to read, and there's no reason why anybody should choose Moonthread, and that's all good. But it's like I've put a lot of energy into it, and so it's while it's free, it's I'm very proud of it. It's one of the things that I'm very proud of in my life. Um,
Are there
she's got
plans to release a paperback or hardcover? Or, I mean, yeah.
Yes. So by February, I'm gonna have the first trilogy edited and done, like as a trilogy, so I can start working on packaging. And then on Black Friday of next year, I'm gonna release like a hardback, and that'll be trilogy 1. And
Hmm.
then, by that time, I should be finishing up some stuff on custom caster classes. Like if you want to play one of these mages that I've created at D&D, that'll be like I'm going to turn it into a playable class for 5e, for Daggerheart, and for Draw Steel. Probably for Shadow Dark because I think it's easy to sort of port from one of those. But those are the 3 core ones. And then just start releasing shit because 31 books is a lot.
It is. It is. I'm working on one, and now I'm publishing my back catalog of poems. So,
Yep.
um,
Yeah.
yeah,
And I will say, like, okay, so Hendrix didn't get good at soloing by practicing Bach. Okay.
yeah, yeah,
So, yeah. So, like, whatever you want to be known for, be working on that because that's the muscle that gets stronger. Just,
yeah.
fair, just, you know, um, but yeah, like, in book 1, you see this girl and she's possessed by the moon goddess, and she lives a sheltered life in a place called Orkshire. And she has these dreams, and they're true dreams. They are entangled dreams of this kid who's a child soldier. And when he crosses their paths, a bunch of crazy shit happens, a bunch of people get cursed, and in the middle of Moonthread, he gets asked by a demon in a mask, "Hey, can I borrow your body for a while?" And he's like, "No." And the demon basically says, "I can bring your mother back to life if you just let me borrow your body for a while." And then he says yes, and bad things happen. And there's a big fight at the end of the book where, she goes God mode and she's all shadow. And then he goes God mode and he's like this winged fire demon breathing a beam of fire everywhere. And it's pretty crazy. And then there's a twist. Um,
Well, welcome in Jesse Relkin. Welcome in Mary Sexton. We're talking about Moonthread and Anthony Lee Phillips. Go ahead. I cut you off. Welcome into
you're
the
all
thread,
good.
guys.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Questions and everything. Welcome. We don't have to end at 12:30 at all, but we can
okay,
end
cool.
whenever.
Yeah, so that's the general premise of Moonthread, and whenever the magic happens, it's all emotion magic. And whenever the magic happens, it turns into poetry. And I'm a big poetry nut. And
Yeah.
so I've been thinking about making a course on poetic meter, because like if you read Orc lore, which is the poems that I wrote about the gods in this world, I basically studied um, Sumerian myths, the Vedas, and then old skaldic poetry, the Poetic Eddas, Viking poetry. And so
Hmm.
I took those forms and what I know from Shakespeare. I went to college for acting, so I did a lot of Shakespeare. I just took all those poetic forms and I said, this means that. So like with the skaldic poetry, bountiful this bone song, weakness speaks through you, like the form that I used for those prayers is the Viking form, because the Viking form doesn't have like, oh shit, my phone's dying, hold on.
Yeah, Substack Live will kill your phone. You got to be
Yeah, I
careful.
didn't know that. Sorry, it's my regular mic now.
No, no worries.
Yep, I'll stick to this. But yeah, like I'm a big poetry nerd, so the way that it starts off, thump thump, once upon a moonful night, there was a girl who was an orc. She had gold slitted eyes and dark green skin. Her black hair, when light touched it, drank it in, and when she turned 11, she began to have true dreams. The circle turns, the circle turns, the circle turns again. Half dreaming, half awake, she sees a boy. He's racing in between tall, barren birches. No, she thinks, not sees. I'm seeing through his eyes. I am him, like always. And so what I tried to do is I tried to take all the magic, like it begins in a magic dream, in a magic nightmare where she's dreaming that she is this person in present tense, and he is hunting because he's starving, because he's a child soldier in the wilderness, and he, in the middle of this dream, has to ask the dagger that saved his life, will you help me? But the dagger can't drink, or the dagger can't heal until it drinks. And so she wakes herself up at the moment that he's about to flay its flesh open. And then it goes into the book, which is like Nala laid on her back in bed, and it's just like a regular fantasy novel. It's like, like you're reading Name of the Wind or The Hobbit or something like that. But I'm trying to use poetic form anytime I go into poetry in the story. I'm trying to control the meter. I'm trying to make you hear it in your head. Like there's this great poem by Robert Frost called The Span of Life, and it's only 2 lines long, but the first line is impossible to say quickly, and the second line is impossible to say fast. And I was like, that. I want to do that. That's sick, That's what.
Duality, what
Well,
first one and two
yeah,
lines,
yeah, yeah. Question, answer, call, response. And I like to work in threes because then what you do is you have statement, refusal, and then you have a gray area.
Hmm.
Right? And that creates more dualities, which then have more gray areas. And so that's how you can, that's how I like to create complexity as a writer. So I take three things. I take good, bad, in between, which basically says, what if they were flipped? You know?
Well, Anthony, although I could talk about this sort of stuff for hours, I do need to get back off of my lunch break and get back to the day job.
Oh, you got it, man.
You,
Well,
but
next time I was hoping that we'd have some time to do some more like excerpts. So maybe next time we can do some like reading, or maybe I'll just do it on I don't know.
I would love to. I mean, I'm like I said, you
I
were
was
talking
reading the
about.
ending of that of one of your AFL chapters and admiring the poetry in it.
Thank you. I have recently learned about this kind of idea of lyrical fantasy. So I would put AFL the Bastard as a lyrical fantasy novel for sure. Unfinished, but we're working on it. And so no,
Unfinished just
it's
means
definitely
alive.
finished. Finished. There you go.
Unfinished just means alive.
I love
It's
that.
alive. It's just alive.
I love that. And I
It
love I
hasn't
love the
ended.
poetry focus that you have, the lore and everything like that. Thank you everybody for joining. And follow Anthony and subscribe. Look out for Moonthread and Dust Touched.
Yes. It's good to meet y'all. And of course, check out Sam's stuff. AFL the Bastard is epic and completely unique. Truly unique.
Thank you, sir. All right. You
All
guys
right.
take
I'll
care.
see you later.
Bye, guys. All right. Hey, thank you everyone for joining. That was Anthony Lee Phillips, spontaneous author interviews things like that. I hope you guys are doing well. Feel free to subscribe to Away with Words, but I got to get back to it. Got to get back off the lunch break. So, all right, take care.